when you're with me, baby, don't you see that I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see that I'm shining? 'Cause when you're with me, baby, don't you see.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a couple of looks with the new Whatever palette from Colourpop. This is their latest release. I know it's the first time, I think probably in ever, that I got a Colourpop palette video up before a new Colourpop palette came out. I'm very excited about that. I feel accomplished.
A few moments later.
Let's see what's going on Instagram today. Oh, come on. So this is the Whatever palette, and I want to create a couple of looks with it today. It's very 90s themed, and that is very exciting to me because I grew up in the 90s, so the fashions and the looks of that time have a special place in my heart, except for the eyebrows. The eyebrows can suck it. You guys have requested a lot to see this palette, but specifically you wanted to see this palette as compared to the Exes and Ohs palette that I reviewed recently. So what I'm going to do today is do the two looks, and then at the end of the video, before I give you guys a little bit of a review on my thoughts of the palette itself, I'll show you swatches of the Whatever palette right next to swatches of the Exes and Ohs palette, and then I will also link you to the video that I did with the Exes and Ohs palette if you want to see looks compared to each other. And then during my little review that I always do at the end of the video, I'll let you know which one personally I prefer of the two and why. We'll do the looks first, and I will also timestamp everything in the description down below. So I'll timestamp both looks, I'll timestamp the swatches, and I'll timestamp my little review and verbal comparison. By the way, I don't know if you guys have noticed this lately, but I've been trying to like match my shirt and like sometimes even like my little hair accessories and stuff to the theme of whatever palette we've been using. And I have to say that it is making me feel like I have my life so much more together than I really do. Wow, 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. It just feels like everything comes together. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me, but ooh, it feels so good. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video because it's very helpful to me and I would really appreciate it. And if you are somewhat new around here and you have not yet subscribed, maybe you've watched a few videos and you just haven't pulled the trigger yet, I would like to take this moment to encourage you to subscribe, because if you don't, I'm not coming to your birthday party, and my mom said that I don't have to. But also because I think that you would enjoy the videos and I would love to have you around for them. With all of that being said, let's just get into it and do look number one with the Colourpop Whatever palette. So this is the Whatever palette, and this is what the inside looks like. This palette already stands out to me a little bit from the Exes and Ohs palette, not just because the colors are a bit warmer, but also because in this palette we have one super shock shadow and one shadow that's a pressed glitter, which the Exes and Ohs palette didn't have, or doesn't have. It still exists. Why am I talking about it like it's dead? I'm going to start by picking up my beige number 6 brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Copycat. I think that'll be a nice transition shade to start with. I'm just gonna pop that right in the crease and start blending it toward the brow. On my MAC 221 brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Pass It On, which is a similar shade but a little bit deeper. We're gonna start deepening up the crease with that. I'm gonna pop a little bit of that on the outer corner too. I don't know what we're doing down there yet, but this looks like a good place to start. I'm also gonna go ahead and put a little bit of Pass It On the inner corner. And on my Sigma E36 brush, I'm going to do the same thing with the color Bad Guy, but on this smaller brush, I'm just going to keep that a little bit more concentrated. For the center of the lid, I want to do like a little bit of a cut in the middle just to make sure that I have like a really bright spot to put down those other shades and give it a little bit of shape. Grab a light concealer and my NABLA Cut Crease Maker brush, and I'm just going to stamp a little tiny cut right there, and then closing my lid and bringing it down the center. On a flat MAC brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Not Okay, and I'm gonna put that shade down on the center of the lid where we put down that concealer. I'm doing this dry, by the way, and it is working absolutely beautifully. I'm not going to bring that color all the way up to the top though, because I want that spot to be a little bit brighter. So I'm gonna go into the one super shock shadow in this palette called Tarte, picking a little bit of that up on the flat brush. And I know that these work best with your fingers, but for this shape, we do need it to be on a brush. I'm just gonna tap that right at the edge of where we put down that concealer. I'm gonna come back and blend those two things together in just a moment, but for now, I'm gonna go into a little bit of the shade Ditchin' You. I'm just gonna tap that shade around the edges of where we put down that nice copper shade Not Okay. I'm gonna take my finger and I'm gonna go back into the shade Tarty, that Super Shock Shadow, and I'm gonna pop that in the center of where we put down the copper just to brighten that up, and that'll help blend it together with the Super Shock we put at the top. I'm quite pleased with that actually. I also want to add a little bit of it's like a small detail that I do sometimes in my regular life, but for some reason I don't do this a lot in the looks that I do on this channel. What I'm going to do is go into the shade Maybe Later, which is kind of like a blush tone shade. Sometimes I do this literally with my blush. Putting it on a small blending brush, I'm just going to go around the outer edge of where I blended out that crease shade. Put a little bit of that blush tone shade down, and then just softly blend that out with a clean brush. Just kind of adds a little bit of like, I don't know, the blush color kind of ties it into the blush on your face and it just kind of makes your whole face look more complete. Now, one thing that I always say with these Colourpop palettes, with the glitter shades, you have to pay attention to whether or not they are eye safe. When a shadow is not eye safe, it doesn't really bother me because usually it's just because of staining, but I always say with glitters to be a little bit more cautious because of the fact that the reason that glitters often aren't eye safe is because the shape of the glitter could scratch your eye if it gets into your eye, especially during removal. So I like to be a little bit more cautious and not put them like in my immediate eye area. But the thing I did last time that this came up and I really liked the way it turned out was I took the pressed glitter and I put it on my finger and I just kind of tapped it on my brow bone, and I loved the way that looked. So I'm gonna do that today with the shade Duh, just picking some of it up on my ring finger. I'm just gonna press it into my brow bone area. Ooh, this one is much more intense than the one I used last time, so we're gonna have to blend a little bit. Now that I have concealer and powder down underneath my eyes, I didn't put a ton of powder down today because I don't find that there's like an exorbitant amount of fallout with these, so we don't really need it. I'm gonna go into the shade Bad Guy on my MAC 221S brush, and I am going to start sweeping that underneath my lower lashes. And I'm bringing that all the way around, but I'm leaving the inside portion right here open because I want to highlight that with that Super Shock shade again. It was lovely and I want to use more. Just gonna blend the edge of that with a clean brush. I'm gonna grab a NABLA Dab and Smudge brush and I'm gonna go into this darker shade Mr. Brightside down at the bottom. That name does not remind me of the 90s. That name reminds me of like the early 2000s because of the Killer song, Mr. Brightside, which was a prominent piece of my life because my sister used to do what she likes to refer to as an interpretive dance to it in our basement, and that was like our main source of entertainment. I'm gonna pick up a clean pencil brush and I'm gonna go into Tarty. I'm gonna pop that not on the top portion of the inner corner, but like the lower portion, and then sweep it under. For the waterline, I'm gonna brighten it up, so I'm gonna grab my Tarte Fake Awake pencil and just run that through my bottom waterline. I'm gonna finish this side up. I'm gonna add some mascara and lashes, and then we can add a lip to this look. So for the lip to go along with this look, I really wanna get a little bit of like a 90s feel. So what I thought I would take back out that I haven't used in a while is this lip set from the Colourpop Makeup Shayla collection. This is the slowed down set, so it's a dark brown lip pencil and an ultra satin lip in this nude shade. I liked the way these paired together, and I think it'll kind of give us like a little 90s vibe to go along with the theme of this palette, so that's what I'm going to use today. And this is the first look. For look number 2, I want to dip into the more neutral neutrals in here to begin with. There are some browns in here that are like minky browns that are very different than the rest of them. I want to make sure we cover the whole palette. So I'm going to start by going into Pink Slip. I'm starting on my BH number 6 brush, and we're going to start defining the crease with that shade. That's a really good contour color, actually. I also started using a retinol eye cream, and it's a little too early to say for sure, and I might be crazy. I might be making this up, but I think that it's improved my eyelid texture. I think they're smoother. I'll report back to you after a few more months of using it. So far, I think I'm seeing some results. Next, I'm gonna take my MAC 221S brush. I'm gonna go into the shade In Bold, which is also more of a neutral. This one almost looks like it has like a lavender undertone, if you will. I'm gonna use that to deepen the crease a bit. Ooh, hello. Those two play nicely together. And I'm gonna bring a little bit of that shade down onto the outer corner of the lid. I'm gonna go back in with my Sigma E36 brush and deepen that up even more. This just kind of gives you a little bit more of a concentrated application. I'm gonna do the same thing that I did in the first look and go into a little bit of Maybe Later and use that to just warm up where we blended out those shades. This time it'll stand out a little bit more since we used the cooler tones to begin with. Now that those colors are down, I'm gonna go into the more rosy shimmer in this palette called TTYN. Picking that up on a MAC 272S brush. I'm gonna wet it with a little bit of setting spray. Place that down over the lid. And back with my MAC 221 brush again, I'm gonna go into Mrs. Brightside. Just tap that where those two colors meet because it's a little bit too stark of a difference between the brown and the pinkish tone. On a pencil brush, I'm gonna go into the shade Ditchin' You, dampening that just a little bit. I'm just gonna pop that on the inner corner just to brighten it. Honestly, if you wanted to do this look by cutting the crease on the inside, you totally could, and it might look really good. But I'm just so damn sick of doing cut creases that I had to take a break. Not that I'm sick of it. I actually love doing cut creases and I want to do them all the time, but that's just the problem, you know? I like shouldn't do them all the time. On that same pencil brush with just a little hint of dampness still on it, I'm gonna go into Tarte and I am going to just pop that right in the center of the lid, just super, super lightly. I don't want that to take away from the color that we put down, like at all. But I do want it to just brighten it up and bring the center of the lid forward. If you have like really prominent lids, you probably don't need to do that. But for me, it makes things look a bit better. I concealed underneath my eyes and I put down some powder. And now I'm gonna do the lower lash line. So I'm gonna go back into In Bold on my MAC 221 brush. I'm gonna sweep that underneath the lower lashes. And just like we did on the top, I'm gonna blend that out into a little bit of the blush shade Maybe Later. I'm just gonna take this MAC 217 brush and go along the edge with that. On a pencil brush, I'm gonna go back into Tarte again and just put a little bit of that on the lower lash line. I'm living for this as a highlight shade. And because we use those more neutral browns, those like mink brown tones, I want to do a similar tone in the waterline. So I'm going to pick up the Urban Decay pencil in the color Demolition. I'm going to run that through my waterline. It's going to make it nice and sultry, but also kind of just make it make sense with those tones. I'm gonna go do the same thing on the other eye. I'm gonna finish up my skin, and then before we do the lashes, I'm gonna add a little extra bit of fun detailing. Okay, I finished up my skin. I did a little bit of a pinkish highlight today. I've been using the NABLA Divinizer a lot lately. It's a pink highlight, but for some reason, it's like one of the more subtly pink ones, and I feel more comfortable wearing it than like a really over-the-top pink highlighter. Fenty just announced that they're doing Diamond Bomb 2, and it's a diamond finish pink highlight, and I'm gonna die. So I was thinking with these tones, it might be really cool to pick up the rose gold studs that I've been using from time to time. But this time I think I'm gonna do like a larger one and then a smaller one and then a smaller one, almost like a wing, and maybe one on the inner corner, but I haven't quite decided yet. And just like I did last time, I am going to put down a dot of the House of Lashes clear glue before I put down each stone, and I'm gonna pick them up with just a wax pencil. I find that to be the easiest way at the moment. And if I need to make any adjustments, I'll just grab a tweezer and adjust with that. The reason I'm explaining this in advance is because I need to concentrate and I can't talk at the same time. Okay, I added House of Lashes Allura lashes. This is a fresh pair and I haven't worn this style in so long, and I love these. I forgot how much I like these lashes. This came out cute. I like this. I feel like it's like right in that line between like fun but simple. Ooh. Ooh. So for the lip, I want to just play into these rosy tones, and I think I want to do something glossy. As I always say, a juicy nude. Somebody left a comment on my Instagram about juicy nudes the other day. If it was you, hi, hello, thank you for leaving me a comment. But it made me have a moment of, oh, people actually listen to the dumb shit I say. So to pair with this look, I want to pick up the Colourpop pencil in the color Ohs, which is, you know, kind of like right in the kind of tone area, you know what I mean? And I want it to be comfy and I want it to be glossy. So I'm just gonna pick up the So Juicy gloss in the color, what is this? It's Crystal Diamond Princess Cut. It's the clear one though. And this is the second look. Okay, so this is what the palettes look like next to each other in the pans. Packaging compared, pans compared, colors compared. And this is what the palettes look like swatched right next to each other on my arm. The tones and the general vibe are definitely very, very similar in these two, but I don't think they're the same. If I had to break it down, I think that X's and O's is better for somebody who is looking for a palette that has a lot of fall tones, but maybe is a little bit more unique because it does have a couple of those duochrome shades. The color Rookie in here has a blue shift, and the color Smitten is pink with the gold shift. So those are like a little bit more interesting. And in general, this one has more of like a cool tone burgundy vibe, whereas the Whatever palette is a little bit warmer and more of like a rose brown tone. I think the Whatever palette is probably better for somebody who's looking for a rosy fall palette that they can use day to day, but that also has like little extra like kisses to it, such as the pressed glitter and the one Super Shock shade in this palette. I love that they put a Super Shock in here. I think it's fantastic. I love the finish of these. For my personal taste, I really like both of these palettes, to be honest, and I'm super stoked to have both of them for the fall season. If I had to choose one, I would go with X's and O's for sure. This one is just so fun to me. That shade Rookie really knocks my socks off. Like, ooh, that one wets my whistle. What does that mean? I have no idea what that saying means. Both palettes are excellent quality. Like I always say, the Colourpop palettes are phenomenal. They're a great price, although I have to note that I'm pretty sure Whatever is a few dollars more expensive than X's and O's. Let me look, hold on. Yes, so the X's and O's palette is $16, where the Whatever palette is $18. I assume because it has those extra added different formulas in there, because they are the same number of pans. Overall, I love this new Whatever palette, but if I have to be honest, I'm probably going to be using X's and O's more often. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know which one of these palettes you think appeals to you more. I would love to hear what you think. Also, leave me a comment down below and let me know if you've tried either of them. I would love to hear what your experience was. Please don't forget to leave a like on this video if you found it helpful, or if you found it entertaining, or you enjoyed it in any way at all, because I find that very helpful and I would really appreciate it. And also, if you are new around here, please don't forget to subscribe, because that is the best way to catch my future videos. If you want to keep up with me between videos, I am at Miss Quinface over on Instagram. You can go follow me over there for more behind the scenes on my Instagram stories, PR unboxings, polls and stuff on Instagram stories, and I do more intricate, more like artsy makeup looks and lip art over there. If you're into that kind of thing, I would love to have you be part of that little family as well. That's pretty much all for today. I hope you found this comparison and these looks helpful if you were considering between these two palettes. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you in the next one. I'll show you Potches. I'll show you Potches. Somebody's outside yelling. Why is there somebody yelling in the woods? It's like a horror movie. I don't even know what this is. What the fuck rush are you? Just picking that up on a Mac 220, what? A 2 Just picking it up on a mat. Oh my god. Just go around the outer.